Hey there, friends and colleagues and followers. I'm going to talk about AI, LinkedIn, Google, and B2B. As you know, I have played in B2B for a couple of decades now. And I've always said that, authentic brands, and I hate the word authentic, but how you show up and what you claim in your space and how you describe yourself has to be really, really ownable and distinguished and different. Remember the whole premise Monique always says, different is better than better. Well, I don't want to be right. I just want to be listened to, as my husband would say. But all kidding aside, the new information and the data we have on AI, LinkedIn, Google, and how B2B clients or customers, depending on how you refer to them, are buying your services or products is really, really critical that we unpack today. So I just want to say, this is kind of crazy. LinkedIn is really becoming the place where people validate what is going on and who and where they want to buy from. 94% of business to business buyers are using generative AI to make purchase decisions. Not some buyers, not younger buyers, all buyers, 94%. So the person deciding whether to hire you, buy from you, bring you into their proposal is likely running your name and your company's name through an AI tool before they even pick up the phone or respond to your email or send you an email. Here's part of the problem. Stop asking yourself, how are we ranking? And start asking yourself, what would an AI cite us as? And what answer would they give based on our brand or my name? Now, let me talk about the importance of using LinkedIn in all of this. Okay. Between November of 2025 and February 2026, LinkedIn went from the 11th most cited domain on ChatGPT to the 5th one on ChatGPT. And when researchers look specifically at professional questions, career, business, industry topics, LinkedIn came out at number 1. That's right. Number 1, ahead of every other platform. So while your executive suite is like, we need to look at Instagram or we need to look at Facebook or X or whatever, just remember, you're being validated, vetted, and judged on LinkedIn first. People are treating LinkedIn as like a place to get a job. You're missing the whole point. LinkedIn is the place where people are going for answers. They're going for primary research. That's how the data is showing up. They're going through the research that shows up on LinkedIn as primary sources. So if you're in the game of creating yourself as a thought leader, you have to be posting original thought leadership content on LinkedIn. Okay? So if you don't do that, this is ahead of reposting. This is ahead of commenting. That's all nice and well, but that's filler. The point is, if you are writing content, it needs to be strategic content. It needs to be ownable. It needs to be the kind of thing that shows up in an AI search. So I'm going to talk about how you show up in an AI search versus just organic search in a second. But you've got to remember, you're being cited for your original content. You're being looked at for your original content. So when your name, company, and individual name is affiliated with really smart content, you're winning the game. Because let's just say Susie Smith, ABC company, put out a white paper in her industry that was phenomenal. And she wrote it with keywords in mind, which you always have to do. And you have to write it in the context of what is a full inquiry sentence or statement that somebody's going to run through their AI program. Not just keywords, people. That's not the game we're playing anymore. We're playing, if she put in, what is the best SaaS program that allows a small B2B engineering firm to be you need to come up on that. So the point is, the more finite and the more definitive you are about what space in the market you have and you want to claim, that's how you reverse engineer your content. And those are the questions that you're asking and answering so that when they do the search on AI that answers your positioning, you show up. Let me give you some stats now on Google and the game that Google is playing. Okay. So in AI overviews, AI generated summaries now sit at the top of the search results, right? We all know that. And they appear on close to 48% of all Google searches. A year ago, that was 31%. So imagine right now the search results are AI'd, even if you go to Google, and 48% of it is going to show up in that way. So this is what I need you to know about organic traffic and everything else. Hold on. So if you have Gmail, if your company has Google Mail, there is a personal intelligence feature. I want you to look for that. If you've enabled the personal intelligence feature and you have that turned on, and you get served like brands in your inbox, or you have a newsletter from a specific company, or whatever the case may be, the brands introduced through email, listen carefully, showed up in over half of the relevant AI responses afterward, higher than when no brands showed up in the inbox at all. So let me explain what that means. If you are a B2B brand and you have a newsletter, and you should, it is that much more important that you put out content that is branded to show up in your prospects or your customers' inboxes, because that increases the likelihood that when they do their AI searches, you pop up in those search results. Am I making sense? Okay. That's really important, especially if you have the Google personal intelligence feature turned on. And then the other thing is, don't just measure traffic. You're measuring the wrong thing. I remember a client a couple of years ago, I watched this play out with him. And he was a cybersecurity CEO, and I took over being his CMO and writing for him under his name. And I did that for almost 2 years. And I published his work as like thought leadership content, white papers, points of view, all of that stuff for a long time. And it was frequent. We did something every month. We did something specific, and every quarter we promoted this, premium piece of content that was specific to his industry and thought-provoking and smart. And he found out after he got acquired from the acquiring company that his published work was part of how they had assessed him and had determined him as a good candidate for an acquisition, because he was a smart CEO. He had a specific point of view, and he put it out there to the world. I don't want to overstep this, but the notion that I'm talking to you about is the specificity by which you own that content, you put it out, and you use LinkedIn as your distribution channel. Those are all lining up the stars and giving yourself a heads up on how B2B buyers make purchase decisions, vet you in advance of any sales call, any email, any meeting. They've already made up their mind whether or not they want to do business with you. They've already made up their mind whether or not you're smart enough to merit the conversation. So if you don't show up smartly in their inbox, you don't show up smartly on LinkedIn, you don't show up smartly in your content, forget it. You've already lost the game. You need to play the game not in the way we played the game 5 years ago, but in the AI world. That's how you need to play the game. So let me give you an example of specificity. So AI search does not work like keyword matching used to. For instance, a post entitled "How to Build an Audience" is competing with a million other posts that say about the same thing. That's not going to get it there. A post entitled "Why Founders with Under 5,000 Followers Convert Better Than Accounts with 50,000." That's specific. That's answering a specific question, which potentially your buyers are looking for, and you're going to show up solid on an AI search. That's the difference. Vague is out, specific is in. That's how it gets done in the AI world. So the whole notion of better, not good. If you're commoditized, not good. Stop playing a better game. That's not going to get you anywhere. You need to own your territory, own your niche, and be specific about what that niche means, why you're different, and what you own. Who you are really for and who you are really not for is equally important. You don't want tire kickers. You want prospects, not suspects. So really claim your space. So remember, Gmail or Google Mail, it's important that you have a newsletter. You want to get your brand out there. You want to make sure that you are being considered. You want to make sure that you're posting religiously and regularly on LinkedIn in your voice and your tone and your company's tone, and that you don't post occasionally, you post all the time. You need to stand for something. You need to claim your space. And then also, the other thing I want to say is AI can tell the difference between lived experience, real, and recycled research. So people are thinking that they want to leverage other people's posts or other people's research, and that's all fine and well. You can reference other people's research, but the AI will take apart the recycled, reposted, versus your voice, your point of view, your original content. So understand that no matter how polished it is, if it is a repost of something that already exists out there, it's already been indexed, it's already been looked at, it's already been claimed, and you're wasting your time and breath. So don't put out anything that you yourself are the only one that can put that out. Don't borrow somebody else's voice, somebody else's topic, somebody else's whatever. Claim your own stuff for yourself and be super clear about who you're for. Let's summarize. What do you want to do about this AI world? Okay, especially if you're in B2B. One, write for a specific question, not the broad topic. Okay, so the AI systems retrieve content that directly answers a precise question. They don't keyword match. Okay, so generic versus specific. Go specific. Two, structure the content so AI can extract it, not just read it. Clear headers, direct questions, FAQ sections, bullet takeaways. Structure functions as the API for AI. If a claim can easily be pulled out of a paragraph, it will not get cited. So just fix it. 3, publish under a real name consistently on LinkedIn specifically. I advise all of my clients to do that. I want them to be in their name. Even if I have to write it, it has to be their name. It's ownable, it's attributable to them, and that's how their reputation gets built. So be specific, publish under a real name in LinkedIn. 4, get your name and content into real inboxes. The newsletter is no longer a nurture tool. The evidence shows that brands appearing in people's inboxes increase the odds of surfacing in that person's AI results. So for the love of God, get a newsletter, make it professional, make it valuable, add value, send it out. Your prospects and your customers will appreciate it, and you will get referenced more frequently. 5, push for earned media, not just owned content. So third-party placements, being quoted in industry publications, a partner's blog, a podcast, they carry AI citation weight that you can't just create out of nothing. So if you got some PR opportunities, take them. 6, say something with a number or a name on it. For instance, specific data, specific case studies, original research, primary sources, use cases, all of these things. Like, we helped clients do this is kind of like, we worked with this company, ABC company, and yielded this to that in 6 months. That's ownable. That is quotable. That is unique. It can't be made up. Otherwise, the soft language, anybody can do it, anybody can cite it, and it doesn't really rise to the top. And the last one, and not the most important, and the most important is keep it fresh. Stale, unmaintained pages, they're going to lose relevance. They're going to lose citations. You need to do a quarterly refresh on all your content and get it out there on a frequent basis. So I hope today has been helpful. In the world of AI, we have to remember how we play the visibility game, how we play the thought leadership game, and how we leverage LinkedIn and searchability. All right. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I will be putting out an AI visibility thought leadership series, and this is what it will link to. So find me, talk to me, comment, do the thing. All right. Enjoy your day. Make it a great one. Bye-bye.